My name is David McMaster, and this is Mac on Tobac. Mac on Tobac is commentary on the toll tobacco is taking on those dependent on nicotine from tobacco products, the effects on their families and our communities. In 1998, the so-called Master Tobacco Settlement Agreement was implemented. State governments congratulated themselves for getting a tobacco settlement that made our American tobacco companies pay participating states $248 billion in penalties over 25 years. Unfortunately, these same governments reneged on their promises to invest a significant portion of those fines to fund tobacco harm reduction and tobacco treatment programs at anywhere near the levels recommended by the Centers for Disease Prevention and Control. What happened to that $248 billion in tobacco tax penalties? When the American Lung Association and others looked into this, they discovered the tobacco settlement money went to balancing state budgets and various projects that have nothing to do with providing tobacco prevention, control, and treatment for those suffering from addiction to nicotine. Lawyers and special interests that wrote the Master Tobacco Settlement Agreement left a major loophole in the settlement. They wrote that although it is desirable to use some of these windfall dollars to fund state tobacco prevention and control programs, no state was mandated to do so. Guess what? Almost every state opted not to fund tobacco harm reduction at anywhere near the levels recommended by the Centers for Disease Prevention and Control. Here's an example of how wrong-headed and irresponsible states' public health policies can be when it comes to tobacco. I live in Wisconsin, often considered a progressive state when it comes to humane public health programs and policies. Wisconsin traded in the billions of master tobacco settlement funds we were due at a discount far less than the value of the settlement awards to balance state budgets. Then, Wisconsin passed our smoke-free workplaces and public places law in 2010. We also increased cigarette taxes another 75 cents to $2.52 a pack. These two laws increased the demand for nicotine dependence treatment and provided an opportunity for wiser tobacco policies. Did that happen? No, it did not. What did happen was the state's Joint Finance Committee decreased the tobacco prevention and control program funds by 66%, and they got away with it with no critical examination by our state media or their elected colleagues. Here is where we stand in Wisconsin now as a result of this funding policy. We have an annual $4.5 billion health and lost productivity expense from the use of tobacco products. We have added tobacco taxes to the point Wisconsin is projected to get almost $700 million in funds for the general revenue accounts. Compare this to Wisconsin's alcohol tax revenue at an average of $53 million a year. Yet, Wisconsin is only willing to commit an estimated $5 to $8 million to address this $4.5 billion annual expense. This is our state's tobacco policy position, even though we are projected to have 78,000 tobacco deaths a decade for the foreseeable future. Something is very wrong here. Wisconsin is not the only state with this poor tobacco harm reduction performance. We will explore this more on other Mac on Tobac podcasts. Thank you for your time and interest in our program.